I'm having a little bit of a health issue, so please forgive me if I'm a little out of breath at times, but we will try to make this as entertaining and give you as much information as possible. The reason that we hold this particular panel is because furry conventions don't operate the same way that a lot of other fan conventions do. We have some very specific types of rules, and we have some, I don't want to call them institutions, but we have some things that we've implemented over the years that are very different. Some guidelines, some protocols, and we'd like to share those with people, along with give you some information that might help you in terms of making the most of your weekend. So the first thing that we always want to talk about deals with health. And it's a rule called 6-2-1. And it's one of the most important things that I can stress that while you're here. By show of hands, does anybody know what 6-2-1 is? Okay, a lot of people do. How many do not? 6-2-1. 6-2-1, I'm sorry. 6-2-1 was created by Dr. Passaway in the sci-fi community. And it stands for 6 hours of sleep per night, not in total for the weekend. 2 good meals per day. And what is being passed out right now, by the way, is a First Con attendee ribbon that you can attach to your badge if you'd like to do so. You get something free. But the 2 in 6-2-1 stands for 2 good meals per day. And the 1 stands for 1 shower per day. These are minimums, not what you think you necessarily have to do every day, but these are minimums. The reason for this, the 6 hours of sleep. I can attest to this because, again, I'm having some specific issues. The human immune system is dependent on a number of things. Primarily, you will be weakened if you do not get enough sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep, at least 6 hours a night, every night, your immune system can become weaker, and you can be subjected to a nasty little thing called con crud. Con crud is known throughout many fandoms. It is the disease that people tend to get when you attend a convention, when you have people from all over the United States, all over Canada, and 2 other continents, all converging in the same place, bringing all the germs that they have, plus all the germs that they came in contact with on their airplanes, their buses, their cars, airports, restaurants, and everything else. Plus, we're in a convention city, which is a tourism city, so there are people from all over the world here anyway, and they're all coughing, they're all sneezing, they're all having hay fever attacks, they all have their little kids that are wiping their noses on things, and then they're touching everything, and they are spreading germs. You have the best way to combat that. Also, wash your hands, obviously, when you touch things. Wash your hands regularly. But get 6 hours of sleep a night. Not doing that, your body's immune system will be weaker. You will be much more susceptible to con crud. And trust me, you don't want it. Con crud is usually some type of form that feels like a cold, that feels like a combination of a cold, the flu, strep throat, and something that's trying to kill you but doesn't really want to. It is a miserable experience that can last anywhere from 1 to 10 days, depending on what you get. So, you want to get 6 hours of sleep a night. 2 good meals per day. And by good meals, I don't mean pixie sticks and Mountain Dew. Because we've had people that said, oh, I'm just eating candy and I'm drinking soda. And those are not good meals. It's not great. That is the beginning of a fortified good meal, along with juice toast spread and other breakfast foods. Thank you. I am now a first-time attendee for the 17th time.
I feel too bad. I have to get to attend Megaplex.
Pino put one on his badge. So the reason you want to eat 2 good meals per day, and this is true, I'm also a board member for Anthrocon. If you've ever heard of Anthrocon, it is a large furry convention. It's one of the largest up in Pennsylvania. Has over 8,000 attendees, and I've been a board member there since 2004. I also work with Texas Furry Fiesta. I work with Midwest Fur Fest, and I have consulted and done things with a number of conventions. At every single convention we've ever dealt with, this always happens. Come Saturday afternoon to Sunday morning, someone will pass out. Or will come to a con-op saying, I don't feel well. One of the first things we'll ask is, when was the last time you ate? And they'll say, Thursday night. What did you eat? A candy bar? Have you had anything since then? Pixie sticks and Mountain Dew? This really happens, and your body has a certain caloric need every day for protein as well as carbohydrates and all kinds of other things. So you want to eat to keep your energy level up as well as keep your immune system up, but it's really your energy level. You do not want to pass out and have to take a ride in the super expensive flashy Raidmobile, which does cost a minimum of $1,500 to either your insurance, your credit card, or they will find you somehow. So to avoid one of those nice, really expensive taxi rides to Florida Hospital, and I was there last weekend for a different reason. You don't want to go to Florida. Don't go to Florida Hospital East. Don't eat the meatloaf or the steamed broccoli. The waffles were okay, but don't eat those. But you do not want to go to the ER. So, and we don't want you there. We want you here having fun. 1 shower, minimum, per day. This shouldn't be a surprise, but there are some people who think Febreze is a shower. Febreze is my t-shirt, and it's cool. I don't have to bathe every day. I'm going to quote Dr. Sam Conway. He's the chairman of Anthrocon. The human olfactory system, which is your sense of smell, is among the worst in the animal kingdom. You get accustomed to smells very fast, and if you don't believe that, try going to a bakery and thinking about how wonderful something smells, and then think about how much you smell it when you leave. You don't smell it much anymore. Your sense of smell gets filled up very, very quickly. However, the people around you may not have gotten their fill of your smell. Or rather, they're getting their fill of your smell. You get funk. It's an odor a lot of people call famunda. Has anybody ever heard of famunda? It's the odor that comes from under your arms. It smells bad. And after 3 days of not washing and wearing the same con shirt, the people around you and the people in the elevators know that you're there. You don't know you're there. You're probably still hyped up on Pixie Sticks and Mountain Dew, but people can smell you, and you don't want to offend. Fursuiters, shower. I would appreciate if you shower after every time you fursuit. I do. It will make you feel better. It will make the people around you feel better. And if you turn your fursuit inside out and let it air out, that would be a good thing. We'll talk about fursuit etiquette in a little bit. So 621 is one of the most important things. It keeps everybody happy. It keeps you healthy. It keeps you here. It keeps you awake. And it keeps everybody around you from saying you're that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Fursuiter etiquette. And this is one of the things that makes furry conventions a little different. We're going to talk about, well, before we go to fursuiter etiquette, let me tell you why furry cons are a little different than other kinds of cons.
No.
And just a little bit. There are, in my estimation and my experience, 2 types of fan conventions. They are called consumer conventions and producer conventions. Anime cons, sci-fi cons, most conventions, including Comic-Con, are what we call consumer conventions. You are consuming the work of someone else, whether it be Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek, whether it be Miyazaki in anime, whether it be George Lucas in Star Wars, no matter what it is, or it could be comic books, it can be anything. But if someone else is producing work and you're there just to buy it and to meet the people that make it, you're consuming their work. It's a consumer event, a consumer convention. Furry conventions, along with a very select other few, are what we call producer conventions. How many of you have a fursona? How many of you created it yourself? You produced it yourself. You are part of the producer community, whether you knew it or not. That's what makes furry conventions different. We are creating our own characters, our own nicknames, their backstories, the characters they interact with, the way they behave, the way they look. We control everything about those characters, and we don't give those rights to anyone else. We produce them ourselves. And in that sense, we are unique among other conventions, because I know of no other fandom that exists where we not only create our own content, but we are fans of one another. We look for other fursuits. We look for the characters that our friends create. We interact with them online. We call each other by our nicknames rather than our real names. To my knowledge, there's no other fan base that does this. People can create a persona, like in the steampunk community. I have a steampunk character. He's a train engineer, or a conductor rather, and he has a name, but I don't go by that name, and I don't assume that name very often, only when I'm costuming, when I'm cosplaying. But in furry fandom, I'm always known as KP. And my character is known to all my friends, and people that see him recognize him. I have a sketchbook where I've been doing that for 20 some odd years. It is mine, and it continues to be mine. And your characters continue to be yours. And that's something to be proud of. And you guys should give yourselves a round of applause for being able to create your own stuff and to be able to give that to other people and share that with other people. Give yourselves a round of applause. That is something to be proud of the whole life. So that's why we're a little different. But we do things that other groups don't do, and fursuiting is one of them. Fursuiting is not cosplay in the traditional sense. How many of you know what cosplaying is? I think a lot of people have heard that term. Cosplaying is when you put on a costume for the sake of becoming a character. Fursuiting has a little bit of a different history. It's very rooted, as someone who's been fursuiting since 1995, it's very rooted in the mascot traditions. The costumes started as mostly either latex masks or mascot-style suits, and have evolved into the fursuits that we have today. They can be cartoony, they can be very realistic, or they can be something in between. However, fursuiting started with full-body costuming. It did not start with partials or with what we call poodling, which is head, hands, tail, and feet, where skin can show. A lot of people started it like I did, by getting a mascot suit and then eventually having a fursuit, a full fursuit build, and you just dealt with the heat. Does anybody know, let's talk about fursuits just a bit, does anybody know what the average cost of an in-fandom built fursuit is? Yes. How much? Too much. Depends on the cost. What do you think the average cost is?
I've seen like 3 to 5K.
3 to 5K is a good guess. About $3,800 to $4,000 is average with an in-fandom builder who has been around for a while. You can get them lower. You can get pieces lower. Does anybody know what the current record for a fursuit is? It has been eclipsed. It has changed.
It did.
Back, way in the back. All the way back there. What do you think it is? $17,500. You are off by only a couple $100. The current record for a fursuit is now European. It is $17,900. It has a fully animatronic face. It can snarl. It can growl. It has eyelids or eyebrows that move via hand controllers. It has a form-fitted body. It is digitigrade as opposed to plantigrade, which means it looks like it's walking on its hind legs, and it is hyper-realistic and took over 3.5 years to build. It was a labor of love. It is a walking work of art. If you ever see it, it's a wolf. If you ever see this suit, you will know it. You'll be floored by it. There are people that have fursuits that have movable eyebrows, that have tails that might have an armature in them that can wag. There are some that are just mascot style suits. These suits, does anybody know how hot they get under normal circumstances? I'm not going to talk about Florida heat. I'm going to ask you first. In the head, how hot do you think it gets and how fast? This is true, temperature-wise.
About 127 degrees.
Over 120 degrees in how quickly?
About 30 minutes.
Within 5 minutes. Your head the temperature inside, this person over here is nodding. The temperature inside a head, under normal circumstances, and I'm not talking about going outside in direct Florida sun in August. Under normal circumstances in the con space, a head can go to about 115, 120 degrees within 5 minutes. It's because you radiate approximately 80% of your body heat through your head. You also radiate it through your hands and your feet. What do we cover up with a fursuit other than wearing a big carpet? You're covering up your hands and your feet. All the areas where you radiate heat are covered up. So you're retaining most of your body heat. In the old days, in the 90s and the early 2000s, we did not put fans in fursuit heads, you just dealt with it. You had a balaclava, or a bandana, and a sweatband, and you had to figure out what your heat limit was. In today's world, fursuiters have cooling vests, we have technology, put fans in heads, we have all kinds of things, but it still gets really darn hot, really fast. So we have very specific rules at furry cons about fursuiters, specifically dealing with elevators and lines. It is customary at most furry conventions to move fursuiters to the front of any elevator line or any line to enter a room as quickly as possible. It is considered good etiquette to just step aside and let fursuiters move, especially if they are doing this. They can't fan themselves through the head, but if they're doing this, they want to take their head off, and they may not want to do it if there are children or others around where they don't want to get their picture taken. So we give them the opportunity to get upstairs, to get cooled off, get a drink of water. If they're trying to get to the headless zones, which is something else we offer, are places where our costumers, our fursuiters, can go to de-head. They have fans, water, things to cool off, things to relax, towels, things to help them stay healthy. It is very easy to get heat stroke in a fursuit very fast. People do pass out in fursuits. Alkali, you've seen it.
Oh, and
And for those that are fursuiters, I've got to see a few fursuiters here, I would give you one word of caution. Not just from heat stroke, but from anything. Alcohol, other substances, feeling sick, anything. If you feel ill in any sense of the word, go someplace to take the head off or get your fursuit off as quickly as possible. Not only is it important from a health perspective, if you have to take a ride in the flashy, happy rave-mobile, and you're in a fursuit, they will cut it off. I'm not kidding. The headpiece will be pulled off unceremoniously. If you're in a bodysuit, they have scissors that will cut them off, whether you want them to or not. They are required by law to do so, to get you out of anything that will make you have heat stroke. Or if you're going to vomit, they need to get you out of anything that is causing your body excessive stress. So I can't stress this enough. If you're a fursuiter and you feel ill, or you feel like something is wrong, get to a place where you can take the head off, check yourself, get some water, cool off. Do not take a ride in the flashy rave-mobile. Or have an ambulance come, or even paramedics if they have to cut the suit off. We're really sorry, it's not a con thing, it's a medical thing. And that is for every city in America. So please don't do that. There is a little thing we do with fursuiters every year. And I'm going to ask you to come up and help. Yes. What is your name? Sewage. That is a lovely name. Sewage. Burying a dead fish. Please make sure you have at least one shower a day. All right, I'm going to stand up. Sewage, what I would like for you to do, and sewage actually has something I'm going to talk about with your badges in a little bit, which is important. I would like for you to come up here, and I would like for you to stand and face the audience. Stitch, I'm going to ask you if you could come up here and help me real quick as well, just for a moment. By the way, Stitch is our AV director. He's in charge of all the audiovisual, the music, and the flashing lights. Stitch, what we're going to do, I need you to hold a finger, just a single digit up like this, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. You're going to hold it right about here, and you're going to start moving your finger into Sewage's field of vision. Sewage, when you can see both a finger in your left and right eye, I want you to raise your left and right hand. Now Stitch, do it right about where I am here. Come up forward, up here. Put your finger right up here. No, further forward. There we go. Now we're going to start moving them. Sewage, when you can see our fingers, raise your left and right hand. Start moving it in towards our eyes. Okay. This is Sewage's complete field of vision in a fursuit head. If something is over here, Sewage, can you see what I'm doing? Sewage, can you see what I'm doing? Sewage, can you see what I'm doing? Sewage, can you see what I'm about to do? Okay. It is very dangerous for fursuiters to have people come up from their sides, from behind them, or from way down below, where it's outside their lower field of vision if they're looking up, and tackle them, hug them, pounce them, or do other things. We have had dislocations, fractures, people have had the wind knocked out of them. People can get seriously hurt because you have to imagine being tackled as a football player would that didn't know it was coming. Also, fursuiters can trip. So if I had this chair right over here and Sewage is looking straight ahead, would you be able to see a chair way down here? No. So if you see a fursuiter getting ready to walk into something, it is also good etiquette to say, oh, hey, do you see that chair? Oh, watch it, trash can. Just something real quick like that. Yeah, fursuiters can't traverse stairs. There's a little trick for fursuiters about traversing stairs. I'm going to teach it to you right now. As someone who did this for a long time, it took me from 1995 to 2003 to figure this out. And it's the simplest thing in the world. If you're ever traversing stairs, count them. So when you hit a staircase, and you're a fursuiter, count the number of stairs. And if you need to move up and down quickly, all you do is, as you go up and down the stairs, hold the handrail and count. It is the simplest, most common sense thing in the world. Why on earth it took me 8 years to figure that out, I don't know. Maybe I'm a dumb guy. I am a dumb guy, actually. But it's one of those little tricks that mascots do. And a Disney person, actually, I saw them doing it, and I was like, Pluto? Really? And I'm just sitting there, and he's like, and then, as he went to another set of stairs, I heard the friend of Pluto, the handler, going 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, down. And I was like, that was worth a $120 ticket to learn that. So, anyway, that is something Sewage has helped us with. They're seeing field of vision with Fursuit. Stitch, that's all I need. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, are you hot? It is hot. So, there are a couple of other things about fursuiters. Taking photographs. One of the worst things you can do to a fursuiter, there are two bad things when you're taking a picture. I am not going to do them, but I'm going to simulate that I am doing them. I want you to imagine that it is late at night and kind of dark. And I want to get a picture of Sewage, but it's kind of late and dark, and Sewage is kind of dark. So I'm going to come right up here and take a picture with a flash. Sewage is now blind. Because the mesh in eyes actually acts as kind of like sunglasses or being in dark shade. So their vision is even more light sensitive than yours in darkness. So a flash will blind people. They will be flash blinded for a good 30 seconds. And they'll be seeing spots for several minutes. The other thing that's really bad to do is, okay, pose for me. Pose. Pose. Wait, hold on. Wait, okay, pose. Wait, hold on. Pose. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. No, this is my mom. I'm sorry. Wait, okay, wait. Oh, shoot, eBay's ending. Hold on. There are people that literally have a fursuiter standing in a pose position for 60 seconds to 90 seconds before they even think about getting the picture taken. If you're going to take a picture of a fursuiter, ask first. There are some fursuiters that don't want their pictures taken. It might be for a variety of reasons. Ask if it's okay. If they say yes, then you want to quickly take your picture. If you can't take it quickly, just let them say, oh, I'm sorry, my camera's not ready. Let me get back to you. So they can get going. Reason being, there are some signals that fursuiters use indicating they might be in distress. If you're overheating, do you know what signal to use? The fan. If you see a fursuiter doing this, get out of their way. Or help them. You can ask them, do you need help? Do you need water? Where can I take you? If someone needs a drink of water, if they're getting thirsty, yep, just like that. If a fursuiter says it's okay for you to take a picture, little camera. Yep, I want my picture taken, or I'm getting my picture taken. If a fursuiter just starts pointing, they're usually going somewhere, and they're letting you know, hey, I can't stop. The one that's really important is this. I'm going to put this microphone down. X with your hands. This is a new one. This is not a common one. However, an X with your hands means don't touch. Do not hug. There are some fursuiters that have had some very negative experiences lately with people and inappropriate touching. Now, I'm going to talk about something specific with sewage in a minute, but sewage wearing a partial, you could probably approximate where certain body parts are. With a full body fursuit, it is very difficult to tell, especially if they have a drop crotch, like a corgi might have, if it is one that has a very built-up chest, or if it's what we call a neck looker, which is where the vision is through the neck and it has a raised head. It changes the proportions. You may not know, one, if it's a guy or a girl inside, and two, where certain things are. And we have had instances where people reached out to hug somebody, didn't really hug, they touched and they grabbed something they should not have, or they rubbed something they should not have. That's not their belly. Yeah. So, if you ever see anybody doing this, making an X with their hands, it is not appropriate to hug or to touch. It might also be somebody might have sunburn. In my case right now, I'm suffering a bruised rib. If anybody hugs me from the front, people have tried to hug me from the front right now. I'm telling everybody, side hug only. I cannot hug on this side. You can injure somebody and not even know it. So, fursuits do not equal consent. If somebody does this, please honor that. That's just common courtesy. Sewage has one other thing, and this is going to move out of fursuiting. Thank you, by the way, Sewage, for all your help. Big round of applause for Sewage. We're going to talk about our con badges. Now, there are two types of con badges, and Sewage has a special one. There's this kind of con badge. It's the kind you all have around your neck right now. Has the fine art from Paco Panther, has your nickname on it, has badge number, and it says Megaplex on it. Certain staffers also have this hard badge. Mine says KP, Board of Directors, has Megaplex's logo on it. But you want to look for this one. It has your name on it, has a number on it, it says Megaplex, and it has our artwork. This badge is what allows you into our con space. Sewage's badge has something special on it. If you notice, Sewage's badge stripe is red. That means sewage is not yet 18 years old. This is important because if you have a red stripe on your badge, certain areas of the convention may be off limits, or you may need a parent or guardian or an adult to be with you to go into those areas. Also, if you see someone with a red stripe on their badge walking around alone, looking lost, looking a little freaked out, you may want to get a security person right away. This is for their protection as well as the con's protection. We very much value all of our attendees, but Megaplex has a history of welcoming our younger attendees. We try to be very open, we try to make sure they're comfortable. If you see someone with that red stripe and they look lost, they look scared, something's wrong, get a staffer right away. We're all over the place. If you do not see a staffer, but a hotel person, a staff member from the hotel is available, you can get a hotel person if they look like they're lost or upset or separated from their family. But it is very important if you see a red stripe, don't do anything unusual around them. Leave them be unless they are in distress. They immediately need to be helped. Okay? But, like I said, find a staffer, whether hotel staff or con staff. We will handle it, but we do ask that if you see a red stripe. Okay? Thanks very much, Serge. You can go ahead and have a seat. Thanks, Steve. Big round of applause. One of the big things, though, about these badges, this badge represents a contract. Oh, there's your fish. And I'm going to sit because, again, I'm a little winded. These badges represent a contract. It is your permission slip to get into this space. We have paid for this space for your use for the duration of the convention. You are allowed to be here by having this badge. There are other guests in this hotel. They do not have permission to be here unless escorted by a staffer. There are reasons why we might bring someone who's not with the convention into our space, but a staffer would make that call. Otherwise, any person who just kind of walks around, says, oh, this is kind of cool, oh, this is kind of neat, maybe I can check this out, is not allowed to be here. We don't want them in our space. We don't want anyone harassing you, and we don't want anyone causing problems for you. And that is the main reason why. These badges are here for your safety. They allow us to see who's supposed to be here, and more importantly, who's not. There are other kinds of badges, though, like this. They're fan art badges. You can commission them. You can get them in the dealer's room. Your friends can draw them for you. You can get an index card and a Sharpie marker and make one yourself. People do that and sell them for $1. These do not give you permission to be here. We have some people who think it does. They can just show up at a con with their fancy art badges, not buy a membership, and that they can be here. It's not the case. This is the one that allows you to be here. If you don't have this badge, a security person will probably ask you to leave, and they will walk with you to escort you out of con space. You can be on hotel property, but you can't be in the con space. There are individuals out there who, we all have had, how many of you had instances online where you've seen trolls or people that just like to cause problems? It could be anybody. It doesn't even have to be in Furry. There are people that just like to cause problems. These people exist in the real world too. They are the ones we don't want here. We don't want them ruining your weekend. We want you to have the best time of your life and to make a lot of cool friends and have a lot of great memories. So if you see somebody who shouldn't be here, who doesn't have a con badge on, you can tell a security person, a con security person, hey, that person's in the con space, I don't know if they're supposed to be here or not. They will address it. You don't need to do that. But if you see somebody who you don't think should be around or is doing something wrong, you can always get a security person. We will handle it. And that brings us to one other thing. With FurryCons, we do have our own security teams. We prefer to handle things as opposed to having you try to handle problems. If you have a problem with the convention, come to convention operations. It's right down the hall over here. It's in the big glass booth. It's down this hallway right here, out these doors, go straight down the hall. There's 2 glass rooms. One of them is con ops and one's security. A security person is wearing a shirt with green, lime green on it. You'll notice anyone with a Megaplex staff shirt has a color associated with it. Blue is general staff. Red are assistant directors. Orange are convention directors. It could be a bowling shirt, it could be one of the 2 polo shirts, it could be a t-shirt. But orange is a director. Red is an assistant director. Those are people that can make decisions for the convention. Blue is a general staffer. Green is security, and black and white is AV. Excuse me. There should not be anybody else with a Megaplex shirt with another color on them. So it's pretty easy to figure out what they're doing. If you need to find a security person, they're going to have a Megaplex shirt with lime green on it. And we did that specifically because we didn't want our security people wearing red shirts. We took a cue from Star Trek there. We want our security people to survive. So we put them in green shirts. Green means go.
Who cares about the assistant directors? They can die.
The assistant directors, I'm going to become the assistant director next year. I'll be wearing a red shirt.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
I get less responsibility next year. Yay me.
Hey, KP,
Yes, sir.
since you have now mentioned both of them, the one thing I haven't heard you mention is totally non-responsive fursuiters.
Oh, totally non-responsive fursuiters. Yes. So, there is one time, this is one instance, that I can say it is okay to touch a fursuiter without permission, but only in a certain way. If you see a fursuiter laying on the ground, or laying on a sofa, or laying anywhere, and not moving, it is okay to touch them on the shoulder, on the arm, to gently prod them and say, "Hello, are you okay?" If they give you a thumbs up, they say, "I'm good," they talk, they do whatever, they signal to you, it's fine. If they do not respond, if they are continuing to lie there, motionless on the ground, it is appropriate to gently nudge them a second time, maybe in a different spot. Again, shoulder, arm, maybe their side, but to push them and say, "Hello, are you okay? Do you need help?" If they continue to be non-responsive, immediately and as loudly as you can, shout that we need security or help. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. A person who is in fursuit who is non-responsive may have collapsed from heat stroke. That is life-threatening. It is something we take really seriously. Don't joke around with it as a fursuiter. If someone asks if you're okay, a quick thumbs up is all that's needed. And everybody will say, everything's good. If there are 2 attempts and someone doesn't respond, we are going to start calling for help. We're going to start trying to get a person to a safe place. We will probably cordon off the area. We'll probably start trying to get them water, get the head off, and if necessary, get them to a hospital. It's not a joke. Especially in Florida. Of all states, Florida, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas are the states you don't want to joke about that because it can get really hot in the southern parts of those states, and you can overheat real quick and you can get some serious medical complications from it. So we definitely take that seriously. Yes?
Have you prepared your tombstone for next year?
Have I prepared a tombstone for next year?
Yes.
So I'm still going to be on staff. I'll still be doing stuff, but I'm not going to have a tombstone. But I might have a boomstick. Yes. And I'm going to need Alkali to help me with this next thing that we're going to talk
Oh,
about.
you're gonna yell?
No, we're going to talk about dealing with celebrities.
Oh god. Yeah, this one.
I want to get Alkali. Because Alkali's tall. He's very, very tall.
With or without the hat?
With or without Alkali. Now, I don't know if many of you know, Alkali is a con chair for another convention. He is also...
No, there's no applauding for God, Jared. There is,
See, no, it's more like... Yeah. Or either that or. Yeah. So, but Alkali hosts a lot of events. He does streaming. He does all kinds of things. Alkali is pretty well known within the fandom. I would say it's safe to say he is somewhat of a celebrity within the fandom.
I don't like this.
You don't like it, but it's true. There are people, there are artists, there are performers, there are all kinds of individuals who have big reputations within the fandom. There are certain ways that people deal with them. A convention like Megaplex is sometimes the very first opportunity that many people have. It's their first convention. This may be your first person meeting Alkali, meeting an artist. I believe Marcy McAdam is here. A lot of people came in to see her. Maybe.
Nice!
As far as Fursuiters go, JD Puppy is running around. Vaitai from Tiger Gear and Hyena Agenda are both here. They're here. Yappy Fox, the creator of the Fursuit Parade, is backstage. He's here. There are people that a lot of people in the fandom know that are here. There are certain things that you can do to interact with them and certain things you shouldn't. One of the things, if they're in the dealer's room especially, Alkali, could you kind of sit here and pretend there's a table in front of him. We're going to pretend there's a visible table, and he's like, let's pretend he's Fox Amore, musician from Fox and Peppers. He is playing piano. He is drinking whiskey. No, whiskey, there's an H. Whiskey. Drinking a little whiskey. Yes, it is. So, if someone were to approach Fox Amore, this is actually something that people have done. Fox! Hi! How are you? Oh my God, it's so good to see you. I love your music. Oh my God, I downloaded everything. Oh my gosh, new album? Can I download the album? Can I stream it? Can I do that? Oh my gosh, I'd love to talk to you. Oh, do you think maybe we could go over here? There are people with $100 bills lining up trying to buy stuff, and there's somebody in front, fanboy. If a person is trying to make money in the dealer's room, that is how they make their living. That is their income. This isn't just a hobby. They're making money. They would like for you can talk to them, but maybe step to the side while they're making transactions.
It is a wonderful place to go to have a quick thank you. I am a huge fan of your stuff, and I would like to purchase things. And later, if you are free, I would love to have a drink. That is a phenomenal conversation to have in the dealer's den. But once people with money start lining up behind you and you are telling me about your bus trip to this convention, I'm going to throw a table at you.
And we paid for them.
And the tables.
Yes. Now, I'm going to demonstrate, Alkali, I need you to stand up. I'm going to demonstrate something that really did happen to Uncle Kage.
Oh, no.
This is real. This is not a joke. We don't know why this person decided to do this, but this is an inappropriate way to introduce yourself and interact with a celebrity. Alkali, no, I'm going to come up from behind you.
Oh, good. I'm Uncle Kage.
Yes, so I want you to just act like you're talking to somebody. And folks, I am one of the biggest, most socially inept fan people on the planet. Here it comes. And again, this is real.
It is so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being at this convention. I just want to say on behalf of the convention that we are thrilled to have you here. And if there's anything that we can do, if there's anything we can do to make your stay better, normally I'm the one to do this.
I know better than to lick him. This person licked Uncle Kage after giving his breasticles a massage.
Kage did not know this person.
Kage had never met this person before.
He does know his name now for a very bad reason.
So, this person came up from Uncle Kage from behind, did not introduce himself, just decided to hug him, give him a vigorous chest massage, and taste his sideburn. At which point Uncle Kage was just like, help? Not the way to introduce yourself to somebody. So that's a bad way to interact with a celebrity. Please don't do that here. You don't want to be that guy.
He's on a lot of security lists.
Yes. Thank you, Uncle. By the way. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Uncle. He's going to be helping us, by the way, box of wine that we're going to be doing in this room at 3 o'clock. So
2 o'clock.
Oh, is it 2?
2 o'clock.
I thought they said 3.
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
We're checking to make sure.
Good. So those are some of the things that we normally talk about with Fursuiting Convention. We want you to have fun. We also want you to know you can go to schedule.megaplex.com or megaplexcon.org for any changes to the printed schedule. There is a printed handout that has the schedule on it. This gentleman has one right here. Mine is just behind that other chair. That looks like that. The little trifold book has the schedule on it. But periodically things change. And it can change because somebody might have had a flight delay, is coming in late. There could have been a problem with a room. Someone may have canceled on us and we not know about it. We have to move things around a little bit. So the online schedule, that's schedule.megaplexcon.org for your smartphones or your computer. That is going to have the most up-to-date information possible. And that's what we as staff will always be trying to refer to when there's any kind of conflict. We're always looking at rooms, we're always looking at times, trying to figure out if we're all in the right place, if we haven't lost our mind yet, if so, what do we leave it in, all that kind of stuff. If you lose some, one other thing, sketchbooks. Now this is not as big a deal as it used to be. But how many of you have a sketchbook? Okay, pretty good number. Big hand, raise your hands way up. Now I'm going to start describing a sketchbook, and keep them up, keep your hands up. If this does not describe your sketchbook, I want you to drop your hand. Just keep your hands up all over. My sketchbook has a black cover. My sketchbook has furry art in it. My sketchbook has pencil drawings. These are the descriptions that we get from people that lose their sketchbooks. So you can put your hands down now. Yes, the most common description, somebody who comes in and says, I've lost a sketchbook, is it's black, it has a hardcover, it's got furry art in it. I would prefer you to not open it, but it does have pencil drawings in it. But if you find it, and it's got a black cover, and you think it's got, if you see furry art, please don't flip through it. This is real. The best thing I can describe, or the best thing I can suggest, if you have a sketchbook, or any kind of thing that you're going to be carrying around, like a book, put your name and contact information, whether it's an email address, or a cell phone number, or some other way, like an address, that will make it possible for us to get it back to you. We can mail things. If we find something and it's got an address in it, we can mail it to the address. If you move, change the address. It's a good idea. But we do come up with things every year, and conventions that have been around a long time sometimes have 10, 15 years of these things. Sketchbooks, wallets, old broken cell phones, digital cameras that I wish we never turned on, all kinds of things that we're trying to get back to people, and we don't have a way of doing it because there's nothing identifying in them.
Ghibli cameras? Oh, God.
I'm not going to say Ghiblies, but...
That's for a different band set of
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better be here.
I'll try.
Okay.
But yeah, anything here that you lose will go to ConOps. Again, down this hallway. The other end of this hall, there are two glass doors on the right. One has a big sign that says Convention Operations. Lost and Found is turned in there. They will look for things. They will file things. They will hold on to things. You'll be surprised what gets turned in. We are surprised at the things that get turned in. If you ever lose your con badge, you want to go to Convention Operations right away, see if they found it. Because they will fall off the lanyards periodically, or someone will yank and things break. If you lose it, It might have been turned in. If not, then we have to make arrangements for another one. There's a charge for a reprint. And the original one can be like disabled. So we want to make sure that you always have a con badge. Digital cameras, cell phones, tablets, computers, backpacks, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you've got something on it to identify it. With cell phones, one of the things you can always do is put your fan name or your badge number on your lock screen. A lot of people don't think about that, but when you're at a big event where you've gone out of town and somebody finds a cell phone, if you have a lock screen, you don't want them going through your phone, but the lock screen can have a way of getting a hold of you. If it has your badge information on it, we can find contact information that you use for registration to get that back to you, if it has not already been turned into ConOps. If you ever lose something, and it's at ConOps, you will be asked to describe it. You say, okay, I lost my cell phone. Okay, what kind of cell phone? Well, it's a Samsung Galaxy on Verizon. Okay, if we power it on, what's going to be on the lock screen? What's on the screen? You have to be able to identify it. We're not going to give something to someone who can't identify that it's theirs. We are not allowed to do that. So please, put something on your property that helps you identify it. It'll make your life a lot easier. Yeah. Yep. Just like that. Something on there where they turn it on, they can say, oh, it's going to have a big red bar or a big red circle on it. It's going to say this, blah, blah, blah. I put my fan name on it. It says JP Fluffy Butt. You know, whatever.
What about the kinds of phones where it's a fingerprint activated?
Well, most of them have something on them that will allow you to power it on just to see the lock screen, and then your fingerprint will open. It's anything that will allow you to identify it. If you have a mark on the case, you have a special kind of case, yes. Like this person right here, is that a tiger? The wolf. Yeah, it's got a name on the case, but also it has like a little circular hot socket, and it has like a little tiger thing on it. That will also help identify it. You say it's got a hot socket on it, it's got a little tiger on the back, it has my name on it, my name is this. That's also a way of identifying it if you don't want to change your anything electronic.
Also the overall beat-up condition.
You can do the overall beat-up condition, but if you say I have a really beat-up phone, my phone's also really beat up. Yours is probably better than mine. I've been up for renewal for 2.5 years for upgrade. We could do that. We could give a phone number. They could give a phone number and say, if you call my phone, this is the number that will ring. If the battery's dead, that's when it becomes a little more difficult. So, anyhow, like I said, anything that you lose, you want to try to be able to identify. We do have a pretty honest group of people here. I'm going to say pretty honest with that caveat. These are people that are all fans, but you don't know most of them. Especially if this is your first one, you may not know almost anybody here. It's okay to be trusting, it's okay to be making friends, it's okay to think this is a really great, safe environment because we like to create that. However, you want to watch your property. Remember, you're in a tourist destination city in a hotel with other people that are not part of this convention. Granted, they're here for a religious revival. I would hope that it would be pretty honest. But you're here with a lot of people from all over the world. We don't know them. They don't know you. Keep an eye on your things. If you find something, turn it into a security person. If you find a bag or something that's left out, we will turn it into ConOps and get it there as fast as possible. We want to reunite you with your property as quickly as possible. That's most of the stuff we normally cover. Is there anything else? Panels. So panel etiquette and panels in general. We talked about the schedule. When you're in a panel, panels are a great way to meet people. They really are. They're events where you might have a lot of the same thing in common. You might be interested in dancing. You might want to meet some of the Fursuit dancers at the Fursuit dance comps. You might just really enjoy comedy shows. Or you might really be into learning about animation. There are all kinds of panels on all kinds of things, and they're all on the schedule. When you go to a panel, though, be polite. When people are hosting a panel, don't try to monopolize the conversation from them, because they might be trying to give out information for people that are trying to learn something, and what you have to share, while it might be interesting, may not be what they want to, what they're trying to impart to everyone. So it's okay to share some information, but I can tell you, I've been to panels where I'm trying to get people information, especially on like fursuit maintenance is one of the big ones where, like I said, I've been fursuiting since 1995. I know a lot about different kinds of things. There are people that don't realize I've heard a lot of the same things people are trying to tell me over and over and over again. And I've heard about what happens when you use certain chemicals on fursuits to clean them. And it's sad, yes, but I don't want to know how you melted 3 fursuits before you realized NBAC was bad. We'll tell you NBAC is bad and then move on. So, and if anybody wants to know that story, we'll talk about that much later. But panels, be polite, but they are a great way to meet new friends. This is a very social event. This is a convention built around socialization. That's why we have dances. We don't have raves, as some people might like to call them. No furry convention will ever host a rave, ever. And in fact, no convention that has an insurance policy that's active hosts an event called a rave. I'm not kidding. If you post that you're hosting a rave, and the company hosting your insurance policy says they're hosting a rave, cancel. We don't host raves. We host dances. They have a lot of flashing lights and a lot of oons music, but it's not a rave. So. But dances are very social events. I just thought that would kind of be interesting. Their furry convention chairman panel tomorrow night. That's one of the things, somebody actually was mentioning that we had a rave going last night, and we were immediately like, that's a dance. That's not a rave, that's a dance.
Let me give you guys an example. Watch this one. Hey, KP.
Yes, sir.
Bounce house.
No.
No.
Bounce house.
No.
Bounce house?
No. Ball pit.
Got him.
If you ever want to know why fursuiters should never crawl into a ball pit at McDonald's or Chuck E. Cheese, wonder why that 1-year-old is running around naked and does not have a diaper on? Because someone else's fursuit found it. Real story.
Also,
Gross. Yeah, no. And there are events that have hosted bounce houses with disastrous insurance results, ball pits. We had a ball pit once. It was a swimming pool with a bunch of balls. We let Uncle Coyote sit in the middle of it and take a picture.
In a pink bunny suit.
Huh?
In the pink bunny
In the pink bunny suit that I was wearing, that I gave to him happily. Yeah, there are things that we do. A lot of things that furry conventions do, we do for insurance reasons, or we have rules in place because someone else was dumb enough to make a mistake that caused us to make that rule. Believe it or not, at Anthropon there is a rule that you are not allowed to climb over the railing that hangs over the Allegheny River. Mr. R is the person responsible for that. And when he pays us the 5-digit figure that we had to spend on security, he's welcome to come back to the convention for a membership, thanks to that little incident. There are people who there's a reason why you're not allowed to have a collar and a leash attached to one another and have someone holding them. Because we've actually had people get leashes stuck in escalators, attached to their collar, grinding closer and closer, and eventually, before the escalator was stopped. Much of what we have in place is done for safety reasons. It's done for insurance reasons. It's done because something happened and we don't want to ever deal with it again. We'll tell you more horror stories at the Furry Convention Chairman's panel, and we will answer lots of questions you probably would love to ask, and we don't want to answer unless we're highly inebriated. There are things that just require some kind of an altered state to even try to figure out why people did them.
KP,
Yes, sir. Huh?
may I
Which one?
finish it off this?
Oh.
You're out of time.
Oh, we're out of time. Does anybody have a question before we get out of here about your first furry con? Yes.
What is the chairman's panel again?
The chairman's panel is tomorrow night. It's right after Megaplex Against Humanity.
Correct. Yes.
Our Cards Against Humanity, so I think it's after 11-ish.
Panel room 1, it says 11:30 in the book.
11:30, panel room 1. So we are out of time. If anybody would like to come up and ask questions, I will be here. Alkali will be around. We can talk about stuff, but please, everybody, have a great time. We are happy that you all chose Megaplex as your first Furry convention. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Give it up for KT!